Alright, it does appear I'm live now. I'm actually going to be rebooting, restarting. I have not been sleeping well for quite some time, so I'm trying an old tactic. That basically is where I stay up as long as I can. I didn't even wake up until about 2 o'clock this afternoon because I rolled around and tossed and turned all night last night, Saturday night, and didn't fall asleep until about 4:30 or 5 this morning. So, I mean, at this point, I've barely been awake 10 hours. So if I can make it till 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, Monday night, the 3rd of June, then I should be able to fall asleep pretty quick. I'm not going to play the opening, at least not any of the cutscenes I can avoid. For some reason, this has not got my audio right. I'm going to try. No, this is still just going to do built-in only, so just unplug it just in case so it doesn't fits. Might have to switch something up here in a minute. Alright, well, I think that's working. I do have comments showing on my phone. I'm probably going to keep the mic muted most of the time. I don't want to bring that down to a -6 decibel. I'm going to -8. But I'm going to be muted most of the time. I will try to watch the comments. I am going to comment over here before we get started. Alright, so let's go.
People have been falling ill after coming into contact with the gloom drifting through these caverns. Though here it seems almost misty and not concentrated enough to harm us. We'll keep going, with it coming up from beneath Hyrule Castle. We do not know what waits below, so we need to be ready for anything. But I know I'll be okay with you, Link. Let's go solve this mystery. Huh? Huh. Hmm.
Alright, I was just making a quick post. I had talked on TikTok. I am over there as Sheepdog Smokey 2.0. Anyone who has found this probably knows I have my main channel, Sheepdog Smokey, which is predominantly just me talking about my faith and politics, which seem amazingly intertwined right now. But I keep this channel for gaming only. I don't really know if I'm going to talk about much tonight, other than just responding to comments if and when they come in. It is O Dark 100. So, I don't know how many people are going to see this. They might come back and watch it later. I really don't know. But
You're not hurt, are you, Link?
Let everybody know that I had finally gone live. I actually was able to. I tried making flour tortillas again tonight. Last time I made them, it turned into a mess. And I didn't have any extra flour to add to it to counter the fact that I put too much water. This time I made sure that I had more than enough flour by going with a smaller batch. And I was able to get it to come together in a dough, but it just seemed to be a bit off. I'm going to keep trying, keep going with all that. But for now, I'm going to mute and go back to my audiobook, and if I see you in the comments, I'll let you know.
What is that?
Was that the sword that seals the darkness? The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me. Zelda. You who carries that fragile sword. A link. Raru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
Okay, I'm going to say something here, talk a little bit. I am going to pop in whether I see comments or not and talk about little things that I really wish I had known playing it for the first time. I was a bit kind of disillusioned or too hopeful or whatever you want to call it from playing Breath of the Wild because, well, Breath of the Wild, I got 2 years late. So I had already seen a lot of the content. I already knew kind of where stuff was, kind of knew enough about the game that I got a really good start. And I didn't get that here because, well, I got the gameplay that I wanted. Because I started playing this the day everybody else started playing this. The controls are pretty much the same. Run is B, open stuff is A, shield is the same, all that. But, as someone else noted, as soon as I got here, I probably wasted a good 30 minutes combing through all of this stuff, looking everywhere for the other piece. Because Breath of the Wild gives you the old shirt and the well-worn trousers. They don't do that here. So, yeah. It's it's annoying. But it's one of those little things. Don't waste your time. I'm not going to give away any real secrets to the game. Just in case, you know, there's somebody like me who gets the game late but didn't watch the content. Like, I am still not able to get Hogwarts Legacy. $70, $80 is a bit much for me right now. I have other things I have to worry about. I need to get some stuff done on my car, I need to get some stuff to my house. So I can't afford, when I get to that amount of money, to spend it on a game. I am avoiding all Hogwarts Legacy content like the plague. And if I end up doing that for 2 years after its release, my first play of Hogwarts Legacy will be a first-time play. It'll be just like I played this one. I will know as little as possible about the game so that, you know, when I do the tutorial, I'm not having it teach me how to do stuff I already knew. When I get to certain things, I'm not seeing things I've already seen. There are certain little things that, you know, should have been kind of intuitive when I played it because, well, the damn game gives you certain things, but it never really says, hey, this would be something you can do as well. So, yeah, there's all that. But, there you go. Like I said, I'm going to be popping in from time to time just because okay, I don't know why it disconnected me, but it did. It appears I'm reconnected now. So, we're going to go with that. But there's little things. I'll talk about them when I get to that point in the game. Because, well, I don't want to spoil what I'm doing, and there are little things that, you know, I may not make it to in this. I don't know how long I'll be able to make myself sit and play. And, you know, when I get to the surface, because we are on the Great Sky Island, I may actually break my rule and talk politics and such a little bit. I don't know. If I do know that I will be downloading this video, uploading it on Sheepdog Smoking and deleting it here, so that other than people watching it live and who may watch it while I'm doing all that, I'll keep this channel pure as far as I won't be talking politics more than just while I'm here. But, pardon me. Yeah, there you go. If you've played Breath of the Wild, you just know that you can skip a lot of this stuff. Like, it's going to teach you how to lock on. You don't need to. So, like, you don't actually need to do all the little tutorials that it's giving you. You know this. You know the basic controls from Breath of the Wild. I didn't bother with them in my first playthrough once I realized basic controls were the same. Run, jump, swing your weapon, raise your shield, fire an arrow. Once I realized all those are pretty much the same, if not exactly the same, like your side hops, your back hop, all that, identical. I'm gonna hit ZL and press back on the thumbstick while you, or side on the thumbstick while you jump. So I skipped a lot of those. Like, he goes into his, you may lock onto me, but please don't actually attack, no matter what you do. But you can see, I just said, not really, when he asked if I intended to use the stick as a weapon. I said not really. He didn't care. He's going to go into his thing no matter what. You don't get anything for attacking, defeating the soldier constructs on here that's really important until later. So granted, I went straight to everything when I was playing it the first time. But you can see now I'm going around it. There is one up here that you have to fight. It's just like I've said in other streams or other videos. Gloom hands. They are the guardian nest. Oh crap! Nope out moment for most of us. The only real guardian nest in Breath of the Wild, other than roaming around Hyrule Castle and coming into where there's 2 or 3 of them all at once, was under the Akala Labyrinth. That guy's just annoying. Yeah, I know. But, it's little things like that. You don't have to do the whole tutorial. You can jump into that, jump out of it to get rid of that first time experience. Rauru is still going to try and guide you through learning to place pins. Still going to tell you how to, open your map and do this, blah, 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 blah. And you're still going to get that first time you've ever done it animation. But that cloud is just not going to get out of my way. Biggest thing to remember that they have changed here, and I actually tested this because somebody showed a video where they did something. They were dropping from somewhere that was too high to drop from, went into bullet time, and took no fall damage. That was not supposed to happen. I tried it. I took fall damage. But
that door
it doesn't matter how high you are.
With sufficient power.
If you drop into water and drop in right, don't belly flop, but actually do the dive thing, you're not going to take any fall damage. I have not tried falling into water feet first. I'm not in any hurry to test just how accurate they were with, jump into water, you don't get fall damage. And, yeah, that was stupid. I should not have dropped like that. Luckily up here there's plenty of sky shrooms, plenty of apples. So you can take care of yourself and not worry. Take an arrow. Why are there arrows just all over the ground? There's not a construct. Oh, there is a construct. Yeah, you always get the little, oh, this is the first time you've played. Let's tell you how the game works stuff from the game, no matter what. Headshots are still the best. Throwing a weapon that has taken damage will still destroy the weapon. One thing I will tell you is, don't do what I did and try to deploy paraglider as soon as you take your first. I shouldn't have walked off that moment. I did that. I died. I will tell you, even though I've gotten to the point where, you know, I have max hearts, max stamina, oh, max hearts, 38 hearts, 3 rings. And I really only cook gold hearts and stamina meals. Pick up every mushroom. I don't care if you use the medicinal effects. I don't care. Like mushrooms. I never cook mushrooms for the speed boost. I don't think I ever did in Breath of the Wild. I collected them for the weirdo at Gerudo's stable so I could get the diamond, but after that, I didn't worry about it. I collected all the gourmet meat and prime meat and blah 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 for the other weirdo at the stable who wanted meat, because he ate raw meat. And come on, let me have. You can only go so fast through this. So I'm going to mute for a little while until I get to the next point where I want to say something that is useful. One thing I'll say, and I still kind of do this, you don't have to collect everything and like drag everything with you between points in a shrine and all that. It gives you one's enough. It gives you two's enough. 2 is enough to get you up to that chest. I will tell you, in Breath of the Wild, it was probably my 5th or 6th playthrough before I realized there's a chest in the first shrine they give you. There's a chest in the Magnesis Shrine, oh my now. The fact that I can remember that, but I can't remember why I walked into a room is upsetting to me. But, like, it took me the first 3 or 4 times to realize there's a chest there. As well as several shrines, it took me a while to realize. They're not as hidden in this as they are in some of the shrines in Breath of the Wild. But just play the shrine, don't worry about I need to pick up everything and all that. There is something to be said for, oh, I can pick up this thing that lets me do this and attach it to this thing. There are some of them where, and I'm not going to do it now because I don't have auto build, but there are some of them where I will literally attach, you know, a Korok frond on the underside of something, just so I can auto build that piece, because I know I may want to build with it later, But if you use auto build and then take anything off of it, it gets rid of the whole build. Which is annoying. There's the little platform that is, northeast of Mount Lenebu Tower, whatever they're calling that one. Or you can get the little flat thing with 4 fans, 3 pointed down, 1 angled, all of them have a battery. As soon as I had auto build and I knew I wanted to create favorites, I waited till I had a big battery. I need to go back and redo it now that I have several of them. I went back over there and I took all the batteries off of it, put my big batteries, put their batteries back on top, and then saved that as a favorite. Because, well, 4 big batteries and 4 regular batteries, you can fly all over Hyrule with that. And especially on my main profile, I have fully upgraded all of my battery cells. So that, the Zonaite charges, the little ones, are useless to me other than putting into dispensers. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, so now, here it is. But, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that you pick up, you learn, and it's one of those things you're like, oh, I wish I had thought about this before I wasted all the time, doing it this other way. Because you just wasted a lot of time. But that's the point of a new game, especially when you are playing it as a brand new game. I do love now that if I've grabbed one apple, I can grab all of them off the tree, unless I miss one like I did there. I'm not going to worry about it. I will still say climb down halfway or more as much as possible on Sky Island, just like I used to on Great Plateau, just to not take fall damage if you can avoid it. Little things like this, you're going to know I can take this. But like, you used to have to jump both times. You don't have to anymore, which is nice. And if you follow it in a counterclockwise, anti-clockwise for the Brits, pattern, you'll get things in order that you need. Like just after the first shrine, when you go looking, you start moving northeast, you find the old man trying to hunt wild boar, you find a bow and you find some arrows and you find a campfire and you can sit. You don't need a raft here. You do need 2 pieces of wood. Because you have to get across this, and well, this is too tall for you to go across normally. And just like others, you just walk very slow, and you'll be able to walk, tightrope it. I used to try, first time I was grabbing those, trying to place them so I could make climbs and all that. And, just like Breath of the Wild. Oh, look, random thing in the middle of a pond with a rock on it. That's a Korok. There are 1,000 of the little buggers in this. I hate that sound. Unlike Breath of the Wild, because I actually tested this, you cannot avoid Hestu. Well, no, it's like Breath of the Wild. You cannot avoid doing the whole first time you meet Hestu, which is annoying, because it'd be really nice if I could just, run straight to the Korok Forest, free the Korok Forest, have Hestu without the, I'm going to upgrade you twice or maybe thrice and then I'm done until you find me somewhere else and all that. They're still making you do that. This is where the guy I saw took fall damage, or avoided fall damage by going into bullet time. And I just went in first and did not die. So apparently you can do that. I hit the button wrong. When I was falling, I did not go into the dive animation. So yeah, that was a mistake. I don't like the thick sticks. They're like the big two-handed clubby weapons in Breath of the Wild. I don't like them. I pretty much stick to single-hand weapons or spears. But yeah, there you go. The only one I kind of will use is that two-handed axe, just because it will chop a tree down faster. And like in Breath of the Wild, I dump my damaged weapons pretty quick. I really don't want to carry around a bunch of stuff that's not useful. So there's that. That is kind of a personal preference, I know. I have seen people play where they keep their weapons until the weapon is breaking and then use it as, a crit hit. Critical hits are nice. They work. They will let you take out an enemy in far fewer hits. But I don't do that. This is kind of the Wind Waker moment where I wish I had stasis, but I don't. You can get across this lake a lot faster with stasis. Stasis, just the raft without that, and go. But until you get fans and rockets, you are stuck at the mercy of this. I will say, when you're done with a raft, destroy it and keep the wood. You are going to need firewood as much in this game as you did in Breath of the Wild. At least until you max out, 38 hearts, 3 rings. I've actually never seen anybody go for 40 hearts and 2.6 rings. I don't know that I ever will. Having that full 3 rings is just, it seems to be preferred because you can always get golden heart meals. And the only 2 places that won't let you use fake hearts it's the door to get Minoru, and it's the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild. Now, this is one of those times. Aside from the fact of, remember this shrine, it has something you'll need. You'll see that in a moment. But also, this is one of the times where, if I had thought a little bit differently, and I'll actually give one of them away. Proving Grounds Flow over near Lurelin. This is not a glitch. This is not a cheat. So I don't count it one. Proving Grounds Flow. You have one construct that is not on a raft, and because he's not on a raft, you have to fight him. But you've only got that one. The rest of them are all on rafts. Grab the raft with Ultra Hand and shake the raft. They fall into the water and they die. It's like bokoblins. Water kills them. They cannot swim. And I fought that whole damn thing the first time I played it. This is another one of those that I wish I'd thought, because you have to get that chest. There's fire right here. Light an arrow. Don't waste your fire fruit. Yes, they are teaching you that you can fuse to an arrow. But why waste a fire fruit? Because you're going to waste the arrow no matter what. You cannot throw fire fruit that far. I don't think if and when I do my next start over, I'll test it. But I don't think you can throw fire fruit all the way to where you would have to throw it to light that, to get that. So you get, what, 18 fire fruit in here? Maybe as few as 16. Use the torch. The same thing's true when you get over to the shrine over in Waneru area, where you have to create the long thing of ice to defeat the, the pressure point. You could just use a bomb arrow. I don't like doing that just because, well, it wastes a bomb arrow. But don't use your ice fruit, because it just wastes ice fruit. They give you a flipping frost generator in that shrine. Now, here, you'll see I have 5 horns. I have 2 weapons I'll use them on. But I don't want to use the good one for this. It's the same theory as with Breath of the Wild. You're going to just need to think about, do I want to waste this weapon fusing it with this? It is 12:30. At this point, I've been live almost an hour, combined with the disconnect reconnect. Probably just get to the next one, show the next little thing, and then call it. I haven't talked about anything political yet, so this will be staying here unless, of course, I decide to play longer and decide to talk about it. Odds are I'll stop and start over, not start the game over, but start the live over and Shipwreck Smoky if I decide to get political. Just like with Breath of the Wild, this is your bombable rock. Bash them all, bomb them all, whatever. Yeah, it's only 5 arrows, but arrows are a good thing. There's that. Strafe around corners so that you are able to kind of anticipate where you're going to have to fight things. And of course, keep the better weapons. One thing you are going to pick up on is that you can get around these guys. It's like the little mists will keep them from seeing you and all that. So I'd rather come over here. Did they hear me? Go for headshots. These guys move way too fast. But I'll be right back. I need to make a pit stop. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Had to run to a pit stop. Yes, I'm really an old man, or I call myself that. I'm 47 years old. And, well, having grown up Gen X, Switch has a much different connotation. So, yeah, there's that. It's a play on words. It's a Gen X thing. It's my name here. So yeah, there's that. Sorry it took so long, Juan. But like I said, I had to make a run. Watch out for the guys that have those. Those little things are annoying. They blow you straight back. And they do damage, but... I also am sorry I didn't realize my mic was still on. Soldier Rico, what am I dropping? We're dropping that. This is also your first chance to cook. What do I have? I'll make one meal. One thing I would say is, anytime you have a chance, Great Plateau in Breath of the Wild, Great Sky Island here, sit by the fire. As far as the question, do I get more or less time for video games as I age? It's actually been both. I like to say I am the OG Zelda fan generation. I remember getting The Legend of Zelda on the gold cartridge for the original NES the year it came out. I got it for Christmas, which is like a little bit after it came out, but I sat and played that for hours. And I mean, I was 9 years old when that came out, so I just played and played. I knew I had to do my homework first, and I would come home, do my homework, and jump on the Nintendo. But then, by the 90s, really, of course, high school, and going to high school in the age before, PlayStation, Xbox, all that, I really didn't have any games that were screaming to me, I need to play these. Mid to late 90s, we got PlayStation, and I played stuff like Tony Hawk. I played, here's that archaic Tunic. This is what I was talking about when I was at that first part of the game, where I told you, they're going to screw with you. Because in Breath of the Wild, you got both pieces of armor, and here you only get one. But, mid to late 90s, I got out of high school, I had no real video games that I just were screaming I had to play them. And I fell away from it. Mid 2000s, I got an Xbox and I played Halo. I fell in love with the game, much like I had played GoldenEye on the 64. I got into playing Halo multiplayer. It was just a lot of fun, and I would make time. Oddly, now that 47 years old, I would say I actually have more time at any point in my life other than right when I got my Nintendo in '86. Because right now, and I mean, I'll admit, when I got Breath of the Wild in 2019, I was working an IT job, and I worked Monday through Friday. I didn't have to worry about weekends. So if I wanted to sit, veg out, and just play Nintendo for hours and hours and hours on a weekend, I could. And I did. And then I'd get to a point where, okay, I've played this game about as much as I can play this game. And one of those milestones was, defeating Calamity Ganon, giant ape thing. And I quit playing for a little while. And then I decided I'm going for 100%. So I'd hit a weekend. I'd hit the weekend and just play all weekend. Do I have anything? Okay. And I'd be at that point where, no, I'm going to play all weekend. And then I'd do that for several months. And, I'd get to 85%, 90%, 95%. And then I'd get to a point where I'm like, okay, I need a break. I'm going to cross that when I play. And I would stop playing for a little while. Now that I am DoorDash, my job is literally, if I can drive, if I don't have anything going on in the day and I don't want to drive around, I've made my goal for the day, I sit and play video games. The thing with me, and this is kind of a split in Gen X you're going to find, is for me, there's not just a whole lot of video games out there that call to me. Okay? So, I don't want to go into Mining Cave yet. I need to... and ADD moments, you'll get those with me where I'll be talking to myself, and I'll just say, no, don't want to do it. But, yeah, that's really me, it's really just been about the games as opposed to having time. And that's really been the thing for me. There's not just a whole bunch of games out there that appeal to me. I really am I have a Switch. There are some I could get. I don't know why I did that. I destroyed my raft. There are some games I could get, but they don't appeal to me. One that I might get again, if I find out that there's a community for it, is Dead by Daylight. I wanted to play that so badly, but there is not a community for it on Switch. Now, several years after it's released, there might be a community for it, but something I had said earlier as well. Right now, I don't have the ability. I've got stuff I got to do for my car, stuff I got to do for my house, all that. I need to do these repairs, I need to do this upgrade. So I don't have the ability to justify, $70 on a video game like I could when I worked IT and I was making far better money. And because of that, I'm not getting as much playtime. So, really the money has a lot to do with it on playtime for me right now because I'm kind of restricted to just Breath of the Wild. Not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom at this point. Although, I may decide, I may get really bored one weekend and say, screw it, I'm going to go back and restart Breath of the Wild. I've done it. Much like I have on... No. Much like I have here, I've restarted this game probably 10 times since I finished it last year. And I'll just get get on a wild tear and say, oh, I'm going to restart this other game I have. I might get to a point where I'm like, you know what? I want to play Mortal Kombat for a while, and it's just, oh, I know what I have to do now. I should have gone in here. I got some stuff there. Okay, I have where it is. But like I said, I'll get a wild tear and restart a really old game. I'll get a half wild tear and restart this game, just like I did tonight. Because I know you weren't here earlier when I talked about this, but I have not been sleeping well. And predominantly I'll end up staying up very late, and then I'll not be able to fall asleep because I'm not really tired. I've hit my second wind. I don't fall asleep until 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And because of that, I end up asleep until noon, 1, 2 in the afternoon. And I need to get that reset. I need to change that about my schedule to where I am up at 7, 8, 8:30 in the morning, so that I'm able to work when DoorDash has more business in my area. Make my goal earlier. Oddly enough, my inability to sleep both gives me more time to play and less. It's that odd dichotomy because I'll stay up and I'm not tired, so I'll play for a little while, and I'll find another 0.1% on the map of my main game. I'm at 99.7, I think, right now. 99.75. And I'll find a little bit more, but then I'll be I'll be past my second wind, and I won't be able to sleep. And because of that, I end up having to work longer hours at night so that I can hit my goal, so that I can, pay the bills, all that kind of stuff. And it just ends up hurting me because if I got up at 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, then I would be, and yeah, I know, that's a lot of coffee runs, a lot of donut runs, but it doesn't really matter. They're all really short runs. If you talk to the DoorDashers, you end up going to Starbucks and delivering a mile or two from Starbucks. And then you go back to Starbucks and deliver within a mile or two of Starbucks. You get, a Chick-fil-A or a Whataburger or a McDonald's or a Jack in the Box or a Wendy's breakfast or a Burger King breakfast. And you deliver close. You deliver to the businesses. And, my parents DoorDash too. And they're making better money on average than I do because they are out earlier. And I use DoorDash and I use Rhodey and that Bubble Frog. I always forget him in here because I'm focused on doing the other one. There's a Bubble Frog in every single cave. These are the simplistic caves. Just look up and you'll find the little bugger. Hit him in the head. If he's twitching, hit him a few more times. But this is part of completion because you have to kill the Bubble Frog to complete the cave. And grab these while you're here. I don't like two-handed weapons, so we're dropping the rusty broad. Is that a broadsword or a claymore? That was a rusty broadsword. Yeah, it has better durability. Better stats than straight stick. Yeah, I talked to myself. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I find I have more and less time for the same reasons. One thing some people will bring up is you can fuse a minecart to a shield, which makes stuff like this really easy because you can rail grind forever on that. You can rail grind without the minecart, but it'll eat your shield durability fast. With a minecart shield, you can rail grind pretty much forever. Get up here. Here. And here's one of the more annoying parts of the Koroks in this game. It's these little buggers. Now, this is just a tutorial. You can't avoid the Master Sword. You can't drop it. I will say this. They give you an extra spot. When you have the Master Sword, you actually have your own inventory plus one. So, like, if I didn't have the Master Sword, I would only have 8 spots. So, there is that. They did at least do that for us, just like they did in Breath of the Wild. But the Master Sword is the one weapon you cannot throw, you cannot drop, you can't let go. In this game, you get it early, and then you lose it, and then you get it back. Come on, walk around one lane. But yeah, I actually never looked. I don't know if I'm going to actually make it to completing this. I may just get to the next shrine and call it, just because I am going to need to do a few other things. But I never actually did look to see if it's you start with 9 or start with 8. Because, I mean, you get to the Master Sword so quick in this game. It's, I mean, like I said, anybody who's played, you know that it is the first thing that you grab before you even turn the arcade over. Okay, don't know why that did that. You actually can break it, but you don't get to replace it. Because you have to let it go back to Zelda, which means it's still going to be in your inventory. Come on, I want to do that. Just a long rail. But we'll actually try that when I get up here where there's more enemies. Yep, I used the right rail is the left. Always jump out of it before you do this because it's about to start sliding back. But, okay, I got trees. Let's go to Kate Master Sword. And we have 9 spots. And yeah, see, it's there. It's run out of energy. They pull the same thing on it that they did to us in Breath of the Wild. The Master Sword never breaks. It runs out of energy and has to recharge. I actually ran into that on my first playthrough, my very first playthrough. I was about to go for the Demon King, and the Master Sword was out of energy. So I couldn't fight the Demon King. Because I'm not going to fight the Demon King without the Master Sword. So, yeah. But once you get to... Once you get to you get off the plateau, you lose the Master Sword because it goes back in time to Zelda. And then you get it back when you. So I'm gonna need that fan. So yeah, would have been nice if they'd have given us an extra spot by at least in this tutorial area, having it be when it runs out of energy, because you're never going to be playing this thing long enough for it to gain its energy back. Letting us have the extra spot. But, I mean, there's only so much you need on the Great Sky Island. Okay, now, pretty sure this is where another little thing I found out. Because my first playthrough, I went and I harvested every spicy pepper I could find, brewed up as many spicy pepper meals as I could, so that I could survive the cold. Because you're about to have to go to the cold. But you don't have to. And the bright blooms and big bright blooms, they're like arrows. Get every single one of them you can, because you are going to need them. Now, this is not something I would recommend doing once you have armor. But my cold resistance just went up. Oh, there are so many videos talking about how there are two Master Swords. And you know, the one thing I'll say is I liked Hulk's explanation of it in the game. If you go into the past, your past, the future becomes your past. The future you left becomes your past. You can't change it because you would be changing your past, not changing the future. It's the whole, I go back in time to do something, and when I do it, there was no reason for me to go back in time, so I didn't. So it didn't get done. So I went back, so it got done, so I didn't go back. It's the whole paradox thing. It gives me a headache to try to explain it, but it is kind of that paradoxical, it wouldn't be in the Light Dragon's head without it having been sent back in time. And you can't really get a good bead on the Light Dragon from here. This is the only time you'll see her. It is a she. I won't spoil who that Light Dragon is for anyone who doesn't want to know. Please don't spoil it in the comments. But the only time you see her is here. And you can see I'm not using spicy pepper meals, but I'm fine. Oh, I hate those little buggers. And you can't, and then later on, once you've talked to the Deku Tree, pretty sure I have gotten to her before talking to the Deku Tree, and I had the Master Sword when I went to what's called the Korok Forest and got there the first time. I don't know if I have or not. I'll probably keep this. Ooh, we're dropping that. Get himself a good spear. There we go. This is one of the more annoying ones. Now, I will say this. Knowing what I know now, so you can't get a good enough bead on her to tell if the sword's there or not. It doesn't look like it. But you can't get a good enough zoom to see. Did I just wake somebody up? Yes, I did. Stay out of his. The first time I played this, I actually came to this shrine from here to here. That is the most god-awful way to do it. Don't do that. Go anti-clockwise around from the Temple of Time, go through the mining cave, get up there, go through the other cave, find the ruby, fuse the ruby to your shield. It's just better. If kind of odd, you have to anyway, but the thing is, I wasn't really. Oh, you have to be close to this guy. I don't. Oh, good. He'll be distracted by those things. I can just go into this cave. I don't really care about those. I don't know where the. Oh, he's right here at the entrance. Jeez, he just pops up on you. I've tried to hit the loopy that comes out of the bubble frog, but I've never been fast enough. Only person I've seen do it actually, rocket shielded up, hit the bubble frog, and then went directly back into bullet time, so that as soon as the loopy spawned, so it can be done. I've just never cared to do it. Yeah, you go into this cave, bubble frog is right there. There are two like lights. I hate like lights, but they do give you good stuff. And the light stones are good fuse options. And of course, if it's an electric light, a fire light, or a frost light, you'll get a shot fruit, a fire fruit, or a frost fruit, or freeze fruit, or cold fruit, whatever they're called. You don't really have to fight this one. That one, I mean, you don't have to fight either. You can run real fast and use chill fruit. Because they can't reach out and grab you from where they are if you just run directly out. I think there's a shield under him. I'm not worried about it right now. I'm going to put back on fire fruit. Switch to my two-handed axe. Because you cannot climb an ice fall. But you can climb dead trees. I think you need 4. Before it gets something else that just kind of tweaked for me. There were 2 Princess Zeldas in the actual opening, where it's Link and Zelda going through, the battles of the castle and all that. That was Zelda, and there is the Zelda that's in this actual part of the timeline. Somebody would know it wouldn't be The Legend of Zelda if the whole point of the game wasn't, the Nintendo version of Matt Damon got lost again. Not out loud, Saving Private Ryan, The Martian. Matt Damon gets lost about once every 10 years. Maybe 20. And we have this gigantic movie to go find him. I am going to do all 4 shrines, at least on this. Just so I can test if the Master Sword takes its spot from you or not. If it doesn't, then they've just given it to you, and you get to keep using it. But I don't think it does, because I'm pretty sure I was holding max weapons when I got it back the last time. Yes, I know what all this is. I have played this game enough. I know all of your lines. And now we see what I call Michael Jordan worthy vertical. That one enough, it's going to be low on energy, so relax. I have to admit, I do love these abilities as opposed to the rooms that we had in Breath of the Wild. And yeah, you have to go searching for, Zonaite capsules to get bombs. You don't have stasis, which is a little annoying. But I actually do prefer these abilities, mostly because, Fuse gives you the ability to create weapons. And yes, you can fuse to the Master Sword. And yes, like in Breath of the Wild, weapons and armor from previous games are in this one. That information works well. If you watched my previous streams or watch them back, you'll know what I've used, what I keep fused to the Master Sword. One thing I will tell you is, remember, the game pretty much gives you what you need. It's like they just gave you Ascend. Now you gotta get from where you are to the Temple of Time. So, come over here. Like I said, I really wish I had thought to fuse a ruby to a shield. Last time I wasted so many meals. And you want to come in here because, well, you get another Zonaite charge. You get examine all of these things you see. They all give you a charge. No, they only give you one. They never give you another. Alright, now we're not running around in these zones. It's 1:15, so just take this. because I still have not mastered the falling from a great height, drop a wing and land on the wing. I still have not mastered that. But use your mini-map. The beauty of this is, as soon as you are over water, don't run off the front because they'll screw with you. Now just dive into water. No fall damage. Those do not drop any lower than that, so you understand that. And I mean, they've added some little twists in terms of, oh, she's closer, maybe I can see. Master Sword is not on her head. That actually suggests that there are not two Master Swords. That if I never left the Great Sky Island, it would never appear on her head. Let's see if she comes around this side where I'm nice and close. Above. There. Does not appear to be coming anywhere near where I will be able to see again. But from that little view I got, well, just to know you don't take fall damage. I'd forgotten this one was here. Still hate these things. Just because there are 1,000 of them and you have to find them all to complete the game. I wonder if I can get there. Okay, there she is. It is not on her head. There are not two Master Swords. I'm gonna have to go back and find that video because they did. I forget who it was. It might have been Celine. It might have been DB Geek. Who knows? But there was a whole video where they were. I mean, they went into time travel. They went into the paradox. They went all of it. Turns out that wasn't needed. There are not two Master Swords. Until you get through here and it goes back in time, it's not on her head. I'm in a TikTok video that talked about it. I don't know. I'll have to log in as my gaming channel on TikTok. I am over there. Gaming is SD Smoky Gaming. Sierra David Sierra Mike October Kilo Echo Yankee. SD Smoky. SD Smoky Gaming. I remember the video about it because someone actually sent me the link to it because there was a whole thread. If you could go back in time, how would you do it to make your current life better? And my theory on it is, one, there's a loophole to everything. There's always a loophole. The first time I said that to anybody, the video they posted was, you are told you are about to be sent back to your 16-year-old self. They will know it is you from the future. You will not be seen by anyone but your 16-year-old self. You are allowed to say 3 words to change your life. No paradoxes, nothing. None of this, you said them so you didn't go back. What do? Well, I paused the video, searched around my house, found an 8.5 by 11 manila envelope, and said, and I, stuffed it full of papers. That way, when I made the video, I didn't say more than 3 words. It was an inch thick. And I had it closed, I had it taped, I showed all that, and then I wrote on the front, show no one what is inside this. But the words I said were, read this tomorrow. I only said 3 words. I did not break the rules of that scenario. The rules of the scenario, you are only allowed to say 3 words. It's not, you have a total of 3 words no matter what form of communication you use to change your life. If that's the rules, I wouldn't bother with the big envelope of stuff. I'd have just said, study harder, stupid. But there's always a loophole. But paradox issue being present, so you go back in time and you change something that causes you to not need to go back in time. This is the main plot device of H.G. Wells' time machine. The inventor of the time machine invents the time machine to save his love's life. But every time he saves her life, she dies another way. And it's not until he's in the far, far future and meets Jeremy Irons' character that he has it explained to him. You created the time machine to save her life, so that is the one thing you cannot do with the time machine. He could go back in time and prevent the Civil War, because he didn't create the time machine to stop the Civil War. He created the time machine to save his love's life. So that is the one thing he cannot do, is save his love's life. Because if he does, then he negated the reason he created the time machine. And, I mean, it sucks, but that is the paradox. If you do anything that causes you to negate your reason for traveling into the past, you didn't travel into the past, so the reason existed, so you did. So it didn't exist, so you didn't, and there's your paradox. Obviously, the creators of this game were very aware of the time travel paradox. So while I'm holding the sword here on the Great Sky Island, it does not exist on the Light Dragon's head. And I will tell you, it is very hard not to say the Light Dragon's name, because I mean, we know all the other names, Farosh, Nadra, and Dinrail. It's very hard not to say the Light Dragon's name, because I know the Light Dragon's name. Anybody who's played this game and gotten to the end of it, or seen enough videos online, knows the Light Dragon's name. But it's not on her head until after you are to a certain point on the Great Sky Island that you have sent the Master Sword to the past. Once you do, then it will appear on the head. But back to my thought experiment on time travel that negates the paradox without or that allows you to travel and change your life without the time travel paradox. Remember, you cannot change the course of your life up to the point where you travel back in time. So we'll use today as an example. It is currently 3rd of June, 2024, 01:25 hours. I cannot change anything the moment of my birth, which is about 10 minutes until noon on May 27th of 77, through 01:25 on 3rd June 2024. I cannot change anything that has happened in those 47 years, 7 days-ish. I also don't want to inadvertently, pull the whole Back to the Future thing, cause my parents not to meet, cause one of them not to be born, so I don't exist. So, 1, do your research. The time travel method is a bidirectional time travel method because you're not immortal. If it is a monodirectional, only going into the past thing, then you have to be immortal because you're always going to travel into the past. So if you're not immortal and you can't come back to the future to live in the changed life, it's pointless. But, okay, there she is again, but I'm not going to have a chance to do much. Okay, no, don't turn too far. Yeah, it's not on her head. But you have bidirectional travel. So you go into the past and then you can make yourself come back to the future, back to your present. Do your research first. I don't want to have in any way cause my parents to not meet or cause them to not get married, blah, blah, blah. So, 1, where are all of my relatives in 1939? And you'll know why I'm about to say that. You'll know why I say 1939 in a second. And what are their jobs? All of this. I would take enough gold, probably an ounce or 2, in a form that would not be suspect. So find a gold coin that was common in 1939 in the United States and take that coin, or those 2 coins, with me into the past. I don't know why I go about getting these, I don't need them. But sell those coins. 1939, you're going to need a couple of $100, so you may not even need a full ounce. But take enough gold with me to get a couple $100. Once I have my couple $100, the day I arrived in 1939 is the day Action Comics #1 first hit newsstands. Now, of course, I would make sure I have the proper attire to look like a businessman. I would be carrying a valise or attaché case or briefcase, whatever you want to call it. Proper facial hair, proper everything. So I don't look out of place. Go somewhere, eat lunch, get the change, so I have a couple of dimes. Make sure you have enough and buy 4 copies of Action Comics #1. Then move far enough forward in time to get 4 copies of the first comic book to introduce Batman. Far enough to get the first 4 of the first to introduce Wonder Woman. Far enough for the first 4 of Iron Man, first 4 of Cap. 6 or 7 different characters. You have 4 copies of their first appearance. They are in mint condition, or as close to mint as you're going to get. And I'm not worried about bringing them forward with me. I'm not leaving them in a safe deposit box or anything like that, because people who do the grading on these things, they don't carbon date them. So maybe leave them in the sun for a few days to get a little bit of boxing, a little bit of yellowing, to where it just looks like they were extremely well taken care of, but they're not mint. And then come back to 1 minute after I left to go into the past. I now have, 12, 16, 20 extremely rare comic books that are worth an absolute fortune. Put them into a safe in my home so that I make sure they're in bags and boards and all that. And then sell one. You're going to have to be extremely careful how you do it, because you're going to have to explain where you got it. Maybe go to Los Angeles once I get back and buy one of the crappiest storage units there are in or Vegas or New York. Buy one of the crappiest storage units there are to buy, where you can get it for $50, $100, because nobody wants it. And you have to make sure it's the first time you've done that, so that anybody else who is bidding is going to go, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and make sure people know this is your first time. I'm hoping to get my first unit just to see what I can do. But you're wearing a backpack. It's got all your stuff in it that you need to use to go through a storage unit. And then you go through the storage unit and you find a safe that has, a leather bag, and you open it up and you find these comics. People are going to be like, "Oh, you got no way! You just spent $50 and you just got millions in comics." And that's your story. So that when you sell one copy of Action Comics number one of the first Batman, and you're set, then you can set up your descendants rather easily by just ensuring that you have watertight and airtight box. You have them in bags with boards, so that you have that in your attic or in your safe or whatever, so that when you pass on, here's these comics. Maybe only get 2 copies. You get 2 copies of Action Comics number 1. You get 2 copies of the first appearance of Batman, or maybe just 2 copies of Action Comics number 1, and 1 copy of each of the others, so that your descendants don't look around, don't question why you had so many copies of these things. But that is basically the only way you could change your life with time travel. You'd have to know what city to go to so you don't interact with any of your family. You'd have to know, you have to have a way to have, a couple $100 so you could live pretty well for a couple of days, hotels and all. And then you come back and you've got, and you have a way to do this. Or, 1939, my great-grandfather would have been alive. So I couldn't really do that. But I come forward to close enough, and I do it in a city that I don't live in and that none of my relatives live in, open a safe deposit box, and it's hit by name. So you come forward to the late 90s. I look enough like myself from the late 90s. I have the right ID. I open the safe deposit box and I put them there. But that's more than 25 years ago. So when I go back in the current day, nobody questions why I don't look any different. All that. So, oh yeah, my dad opened this or whatever. You'd have to do a lot of thinking, a lot of research, but it could be done. Anyway, I have got other stuff I'm going to do. I'm going to read for a while. I'm going to do some other things. But that is, oh no, I wanted to look at one other thing. Because I know this will be kept as my most recent stream, and since I did not talk about politics, it will not be deleted. I don't need to move it. But let's see if this will give me two things to tweak some brains about on some threads I'm part of, and some subreddits I'm part of, and some YouTube videos I've commented on. So let's see what this is going to do. Because I've sent the Master Sword back in time, and now, no matter how hard you look, until you have enough stamina, you're not going to see the light dragon. You do keep the spot. You do keep the spot. So there's no more of the Master Sword. I'll have to keep playing this to see. Unless I just tell you, you start with 9 spots no matter what, and you lose one while you're on the Great Sky Island. But the Master Sword spot does not go away when you leave the Great Sky Island. I wonder, can I jump off of that without getting rid of the Master Sword? Oh, it did, didn't it? Nope, I still haven't. So, I still have the Master Sword, as you can see, Decayed Master Sword. I think I'm the only one watching at this point, so I'm talking to myself, but I do that enough, I'm not worried about it. One of the first things I did when I started playing new profiles of Breath of the Wild was you cannot get off of the Great Sky Island without getting rid of the Master Sword. That is good to know. I started messing with it. So like when you're, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go to this one. Make sure I'm on the right one before I save again and close. But like you're supposed to go to Kakariko first, which leads you up to Ruda, then Rodania, then the Meadow, then the Boris. You're supposed to do it in that order. I screwed with the game, run for Farron so you can get Hardy Durians. And that changed up the whole thing where I could go for stamina, but then I couldn't get the Master Sword and all that. And, get, if you want to have some fun in Breath of the Wild, get all 4 Divine Beasts and the Master Sword before you go to Impa. If you've done all that, she recognizes it and the cutscenes change. If you get the Master Sword first and then do the Divine Beasts, Ludo, Sidon, and so on, Canelli and Riju will recognize the Master Sword. I haven't really started playing much on this, but you can't do that as much in Tears of the Kingdom because if you go for, really the only one you can't do would be, well no, you can't really do can't do Gerudo, Lightning Temple, and you can't do Fire Temple because you can't do Wind Temple and Fire Temple. You really can't do any of them. You need the Paraglider. You have to go to Pura. And then you have to talk to Pura after you get the Paraglider to get Regional Phenomena. Now, if you don't get Regional Phenomena but you get the Paraglider, you can go get the 4 and then go back to her and say, oh, you're already done, so now go find the 5th. But you got to talk to Pura to get the Paraglider, and you got to talk to her to get Regional Phenomena. But once Regional Phenomena is active, you then can go straight for Minoru before you do the others. Huh. Anyway, I'm going to end here because I am going to do some reading and some other stuff.